All right. Well, thank you all for joining today. We are going to get started. Today, we are expanding the scope of this webinar outside of COVID. We are including general Amazon updates. Today, we will have presentations from Alan, David, and myself. And so, Alan, if you want to start us off.
As I mentioned, we have a little bit broader agenda. COVID is now still a significant impact on Amazon, so we'll review a lot of that, but we also will share a lot of updates from Amazon since our last presentation, as well as a couple of international updates as that business is expanding. Dave will review vendor impacts as well across the business. And we're adding a new section called the Amazon Frontier. It's constantly changing and updating, so we'll bring you new tools and programs that Amazon's launching, as well as Navazon is helping to develop to strengthen the business with Amazon, as well as finish with a Q&A period. We've seen a lot of changing environments. It really depends on what state you're in, as it shows across the bottom, the states that closed due to COVID through March and into April, or animation, I should say. States are reopening their economies, as we all know. We've heard on the news, I'm sure. And in that, Amazon remains one of the few options that is consistently open. So as of June 15th, 2020, so a little bit last month, everybody was essentially in a reopening condition, with only a few that were still mainly shut down, with Oregon, California, and Tennessee. As of just yesterday, or July 13th, that reopening, in some states, they decided it was a bit too aggressive, or they wanted to adjust it a little bit. And you see the different colors here. In some cases, states reversing the positions that they had a little bit and adding some restrictions. So it gives a very broad snapshot of what's happening in the U.S. today. Some people have many restrictions, as some of you may know, and other areas they're being asked to wear a mask, or sometimes not even a mask at all. So there's a wide variance across the board in the U.S. today. That said, there are restrictions still in place in many places, and that's impacting business. For a quick snapshot for Seattle, I have included this in the past. You see COVID-19, the Gap, for example, had been impacted and being boarded up for a while. Then the second image there shows that they were reopening for deliveries and some pickup. The protests occurred across the nation, and Seattle was one place that was impacted quite a bit. And with that, the Gap closed down again significantly. And then with COVID additional, and in King County specifically, where Seattle is, you see Gap is completely boarded up again due to restrictions here in town. So this specific example with Seattle, I imagine, is one of the, not the hardest hit. I think California is hard hit, but this King County position or area specifically around Seattle has been impacted and continues to be impacted significantly, and people don't have the option of that Gap or other stores. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, it's interesting, this slide here shows March, where the percent change in retail and food service sales were significantly down in March across the board. The total, as well as auto and general merchandising, were down in April, more than 10% it appears. And then in May, each section was seeing a rebound from the prior month. And this is just with the stimulus or payments that the government and plans and loans that the government had put in place did allow things to bounce back a little bit in May. However, with the additional restrictions or adjustments, we'll probably see a continued, maybe small growth, and in some states, small reversals. However, with the openings as they are, anticipate that growth will, at least on Amazon, continue. So it's a real dichotomy. This slide shows on the left-hand side, total retail in red really took a massive hit, down 24%. Meanwhile, e-commerce was up 23% and potentially even higher than that. So non-e-commerce specifically took the largest hit of total retail as shown here, and that's anticipated to continue somewhat going forward. However, it is expected as areas are reopening that non-e-commerce will continue to recover somewhat, but e-commerce continuing to grow at strong double-digit rates in Q3 and Q4 expected. A surprising thing that's come from this, the strength for Amazon, is that Amazon's getting new buyers to online retail. So specifically for age group higher than 65 and older, they've had at least 12% growth. And other areas they're seeing similar increases because people are forced to be digital buyers. And not only are they forced to be digital buyers in some cases because of the store closings, they're spending more per buyer. So that's a great opportunity in terms of online and specifically with Amazon. So it's a time to consider potentially shifting some marketing or other investments that you're making in other channels to reach the new customers that Amazon in the past historically didn't have, but is expanding into now as a result of limitations in the retail environment. Now, there's a big dichotomy between Amazon and the rest of the retail, or much of the retail environment, especially the stores. Bankruptcies continue. In May, there was J. Crew, Neiman Marcus, and Pier 1 and JCPenney just in May alone. Added to that recently was Brooks Brothers and Ascena Retail, which includes thousands of stores. So in July, 1,200 stores in July alone were expected to be closed. And just, I think it was yesterday, New York and Company may close an additional 387 stores. So this dichotomy of bankruptcies with Amazon being strong, it's a struggle for retail in general, but a strength for Amazon because it reduces the number of options that other people have. And this report by Forrester and Bloomreach did find that half of consumers are shopping online for products that they'd always purchased in person. So the shift in not only customer options, but customer preferences now is very significant and advantages Amazon right now. The overall economic environment too shows a big dichotomy because these business closures and bankruptcies mean that they're going to be temporary job losses that become permanent job losses. And when those become permanent, that reduces overall income and income levels, which then means reduced spending capability. And with consumer spending being 70% of the U.S. economic growth, this is likely to significantly reduce economic growth going forward. However, again, as I mentioned, though growth overall is reduced, Amazon growth continues as consumers buy from home to minimize human contact. Specifically on Amazon, we're seeing that Amazon orders are aligned with higher sales from increased purchasing, and they're expected to remain high as stores remain closed or continue to go bankrupt in some cases. And COVID restrictions continue. So even if COVID restrictions are reduced, we're seeing that people are hesitant to go out to stores. So Amazon continues to have strong growth. In addition to that, Amazon has resumed in-home delivery for large and bulky products as well as home services. So it's finding that it's able to adjust its processes and expand what its offering is today. In addition to individual actions that Amazon's taking, it's also shown to be reopening its physical stores completely. They had taken a regional, it seemed, approach to this. However, now Amazon Books, the 4-Star Store, the pop-up stores, and Amazon Go stores are all open. They have made some adjustments by making specific hours available for seniors or high-risk groups. Here in town, both the 4-Star Store and the pop-up and the Amazon Go and grocery stores are all open. It's an area that might have been a limited customer base in the past. We're finding a lot more people are excited about going into a place such as an Amazon grocery store that's touchless. You just pick up what you want and walk out. There's no checkout, there's no standing in line, and limited contact or interaction with people is something that is very attractive to a growing number of people today. Internally, they are spending over $4 billion, or expected to spend over $4 billion in Amazon and COVID-related costs. testing employees to make them feel more comfortable and understand and get them out of the workforce if they do have COVID. Also help them know that they don't have it. So they're rolling that out for testing every 2 weeks, where they do some of their own testing so that they don't run into limitations that are out in the rest of the world today. They're also creating free masks for medical professionals and customers. They presented a $500 million thank you bonus to employees just recently for their frontline work as well as their partners. They realize that people are working in conditions that may be higher risk than others, and they're rewarding them with that. And one other thing that they've done internally in the fulfillment centers is you might cross people or cross paths with people, and there were concerns in the media and stated about interactions between employees. They actually have enacted something called Distance Assistant, provide real-time social distancing feedback. So if you're walking around and you're too close to somebody, it will show a camera maybe filming you, and then it shows up on a video screen to give you that feedback or potentially get that feedback later. So Amazon's instituting internal systems and processes as well to reduce risk for people. Those are some U.S. updates. One update in terms of COVID impact internationally is that Amazon's been a little bit slower in rolling out the Born to Run capability. They have made it by invitation only. So the Born to Run program where you can ship products into Amazon. If you don't have it currently, we can put a request on to the vendor manager. And in many cases, they're potentially including it in annual negotiations. The annual negotiations have been handled in several categories through a web link through Vendor Central. On the right-hand side, it shows a video that's just about 2 minutes long that Amazon talks about its process. They give you lists of terms that they want. The options typically are not ones that anybody wants to choose. So we help work through those negotiations. One term that, or two new terms that have been established internationally. One is called PICS. The description is shared a little bit below in the small text. Sorry for the small text. That's directly from Amazon Vendor Central in defining that. So internationally, if you want to reduce the number of FCs, Amazon asks for a fee. And then another item that they've rolled out is the overstock allowance, where they want to charge you for overstock or get just a basic allowance to enable them to do whatever they like with overstock when they have it. Dave will cover additional items that have been rolled out in the US and internationally.
Okay, so we have a slight technical problem because none of my slides actually ended up saving here. So for some reason, they all got overwritten when I went back to them. They're not in the presentation either, Patrick, because I just tried to go find them. So we're running into a little bit of a technical issue, unfortunately. I don't know why they didn't save. So I'm gonna. I don't have them. That's the problem. So I went and refreshed it, and it's gone now. So I'm going to do all, so I'm going to share here based on what I have, and this is not going to be on the screen. So in terms of operations for Vendor Central, everything within Vendor Central is starting to go back to normal. So within Vendor Central right now, we're starting to see POs. They're going back to what we consider a new normal. So basically, they're still at the elevated levels of where they were prior or where they were during the COVID-19. We're starting to see dropship. If you're doing dropship anywhere, where it's dropping back down to what it would be normally in terms of percentage-wise before COVID-19. So it's dropping down to about 2 to 6% is what we're seeing anyway. And then in terms of forecasting is starting to go to that new normal and level where it's going with what you've been getting now in consumer sales. And so that's why the POs are starting to continue as well within that. In terms of Vendor Central, all the programs that are now self-service are now available once again to clients. The only real change within Vendor Central is Amazon has started rolling out a new Contact Us feature. The Contact Us feature now they're starting to roll out has a little bit of some changes there, but still the basic programming that they've got. Some additional things that have started to change across all of Amazon is in terms of compliance. With compliance, they've now got import documents for Canada. So you're going to see that within the compliance requests that come out every single Wednesday. Basically, Amazon is asking for certain documents that they want to bring goods into Canada to sell them there. If you don't want to actually sell your products within Canada, you can go through and you can actually reject that, and then they will be able to sell them within Canada. They are also rolling out a new counterfeit program. So in terms of counterfeits, Amazon, as of June 26, 2020, they've now got a counterfeit crimes unit that includes prosecutors. This is based upon what Amazon has been trying to spend and reduce counterfeits that they promised the U.S. government. So Amazon has invested over $500 million in 2019 for counterfeits and has more than 8,000 employees fighting fraud and abuse. They stopped 2.5 million in suspected bad actors so far from opening up new counterfeit accounts. With this in mind, Amazon is now going to start requiring 3P sellers to identify themselves beginning September 1st, 2020. This right here is just an ongoing effort in order to stop 3Ps from abusing Amazon's system within that. Other updates in terms of operations, Amazon shipping. Amazon has now have new small parcel labels where you can actually go into their system and you can use Amazon printed labels. You can print those out and shipping products that are small parcel to Amazon. Ideally, what this is supposed to do is to reduce inbound issues, so Amazon has better tracking of those small parcels. Amazon Freight is also still going to roll out 2 additional zip codes. That is currently limited to different zip codes, but they're starting to roll that program out across the board. What you can do there anyways, if you're currently paying for your own shipments, you can go and check to see if Amazon would actually be cheaper if it's available within your zip code. It has changed slightly with the label placement anyway. You'll be using Amazon's own labels if you are doing those. In terms of chargebacks, Amazon has changed some of the chargebacks a little bit. So PO on-time non-compliance, that you have a 3-day grace period for this month. That'll end at the end of the month. What that means is by the end of your ship window, you'll have 3 additional days basically to have your freight ready date anyway. If you, for some reason, are later than that, then you will get the chargeback applied. Basically, last month, it was a 5-day ship window that they were giving you as a grace period. So after you had 5 additional days, now it's down to 3. If you don't have your freight ready date within there by the 3rd day after the ship window ends, you'll get a chargeback. That chargeback will be 3% of the product cost. Down confirmed as of the end of June. That's now back to normal. So the down confirmed, the way that worked was by the start of the ship window, you had 5 additional days basically to change the PO where you go and reduce the quantity. And if you didn't do it within the 5th day, you would get a chargeback for that. That chargeback would be 3% as well. Another change that Amazon now has is SIOC requirements. They've now changed it so that January 1st, 2021, they will now implement the new SIOC changes. The new SIOC changes have to do with non-sortable products. And basically what they are doing there is changing the dimensions. So on your non-sort products, anything that is 6 inches by 4 inches by 0.375 inches, previously was 9.6 by 0.375 inches. If you're within that requirement now, your product will need to be certified by January 1st, or also will be subject to the $1.99 chargeback that they've now got. The other thing that Amazon is doing now, so we now have actual dates for Prime Day. So for Prime Day, Amazon's saying that it's going to be the 3rd week of October for Amazon Prime Day. It's currently set to run for 48 hours. If you don't have anything scheduled yet, please reach out to your vendor manager as soon as you can so you can get that actually set up. Most of the VMs already had all their deals in by the 5th of June was the original cutoff day, but VMs still might be reaching out asking for additional deals. They've already started sending out the agreements for those deals if you put them in. POs actually won't be issued though until probably about September, October timeframe. Now back to you, Patrick.
Cool. Thank you very much, Dave. All right, so what I have for us today is what we call the Amazon frontier. So Amazon's often creating new products for vendors to allow you to showcase your brand and engage your customers. And with Amazon, you're able to do that 24/7, 365. So they have all these programs right now, A+ pages, mobile product pages, Amazon stores, mobile video ads, and Amazon posts. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about Amazon Posts, which is still in its beta. So Amazon Post is a beta program that allows you to create short blog posts on your mobile detail pages. The screenshot on the left side shows what it looks like on the customers. Like, this is a screenshot I took on my phone of me browsing Amazon. So when you're looking through product detail pages, you will see a post on related products. If you click on that, it'll bring you to the detail page. So Finis was able to use this. We created 50 posts for them, and that generated 386,000 impressions, 20,000 clicks, so a 5% click-through rate, and all on a $0 spend. So they were able to promote their brand and drive traffic to their detail pages for free. Another thing to notice is Finis has really excellent content. So they have pictures of Olympic swimmers utilizing their products. Like, they have these snorkels and paddles, also this training equipment that they use, kickboards and fins that are used by competitive athletes. When COVID hit, a lot of the competitive swimming and swim training equipment sales started to decline because pools were closed. And so they shifted their focus to products that you can use in your own home. So things like these resistance cords on the top left, or the kids goggles, which are used in backyard pools. So this is another way to make sure that you are shifting the customer's focus to products that will be most applicable to them. So the post setup is extremely simple. There is a website that you log into, and all you have to do is upload an image, and then you write a caption, and then you select an ASIN, and you submit this for review, and the post is usually live within 24 hours. This is something that we can do for all of our vendors. So if you want to get involved in this program, just reach out to your account manager and we'll get it set up. All right, so now we will open up to any questions and answers.
Looks like we have one in the text box about when does the 3-day grace period end?
So Dave, they're asking about.
Yeah, so the 3-day grace period on the PO on-time compliance, that's going to end on the 31st of July. And then in terms of SIOC, yeah, so the SIOC chargeback is $1.99. It starts January 1st, 2021. And then basically it applies only to the non-sortable products. So non-sortable products are defined as anything that is 18 by 14 by 8 in dimensions. So anything with more than a 14-inch on its medium side, an 8-inch on its shortest size, or 18 inches on its longest side, or greater than 20 pounds, that'll be considered non-sort and go to a non-sort facility. And then the requirement there that has happened basically has changed the minimum dimensions of what is going to be required to become SIOC. So previously, the minimum dimensions was 9 inches by 6 inches by 0.375 inches, and that has now been reduced to 6 by 4 by 0.375. So if you're over that in the requirements, your product now has to be considered SIOC, or you're going to get charged $1.99 for every unit that the EFC receives. Now, the old requirements still on the number of units and everything, which differ by category, still does apply. So if you have a brand new product, as an example, you will be exempt for a period of time. I believe it's 6 months. Or if you're selling less than, I think it's 500 units in the last year, I think it is, it'll be also reduced. But you can check with your account manager on those exact requirements, or send us an email, and I can send what that is for your particular category on that. Otherwise, you'll be required to do that, and you have the $1.99 chargeback. So that's something to consider there. Is you could always drop ship in order to not fall within that chargeback because drop shipping doesn't get the SIOC chargeback applied to it, or you could always bake that into your product cost.
Dave, did you, is that word you said is non-sortable?
Non-sortable, yep. So Amazon's got two FCs. One of them's a sortable FC, and then one of them a non-sort FC. The sortable FCs are the ones you normally see pictures of with all the conveyor belts, and the non-sortable FCs. Generally, it's everybody running around by hand, and they have the bigger products anyway, like kayaks and things like that they're shipping.
All right.
Dave, great job adapting with despite the technical difficulties and sharing those updates. That was great. And Patrick, it's exciting to see the Amazon Frontier items there. Amazon's constantly changing and providing new opportunities with Amazon Posts and other features. Each month right now, we'll make sure that we bring you the changes across operations, purchase orders, chargebacks, analytics, marketing, and promotions to keep you up to speed on where Amazon is moving, and to manage the present as well as prepare for the future on the key areas of the business. The new frontier that Patrick covered there continues to expand. And next month, we anticipate bringing you some new tools that we've encountered in the marketplace, as well as one or two that we've been building. We have tools around content analytics and new products tracking that we anticipate sharing at least one of those next period with you. One that's particularly exciting to us is in partnership with Amazon. Amazon has been experimenting with opening up its databases externally. So Amazon reached out to us, and our technical team is working with them now to get direct connection to their systems to see if we can get data out faster initially, and maybe months down the road, potentially even push data back to them. If you have specific challenges or capabilities that you think would be really beneficial to your business, please reach out and let us know. And we can include those in the roadmap or discussions that we're having with Amazon's Vendor Central team. It's pretty exciting that they're open to that and making that available to us to do that experimentation and expand and grow businesses together. And if there's anything you'd like to see added to these presentations in the future, please reach out as well.